Hello and welcome, my little tiddlywinks. Today we're going to play some Prison Architect. It's a really cool game that you can find on Steam. Absolutely fun. It's a prison tycoon game. You gotta make money, you gotta keep your prisoners in there. Loads of fun. We're going to start from the very beginning. So we're going to start by creating a new prison. We're going to go with a lady prison because everybody loves Orange is the New Black. And it really doesn't make a difference as to what you choose, though the ladies tend to have some extra features you have to try and accommodate for, which includes that some of them have a family and you need to make a room for them to be able to have their baby. Now, when you pick your warden, you have a few choices. The warden doesn't really do anything special. You have guys like the lobbyist, who make it so that your prisoners aren't as deadly bad. It keeps your prison pretty mild. There's others like Rita. Prisoners tend not to get too fearless, which means they won't attack. Plus, your guards will take them down pretty easily. My personal favorite is J.W. Periwinkle. Not just because of the name, but because he actually has an increased chance of the guard dogs uncovering any tunnels that they can find. You have others like the pacifier, where they reduce the overall temperature of the prison, which means they'll not cause as much trouble. Or you can go with this crazy lady who basically just gets you extra money, not as fun. So, we're going to stick with J.W. Periwinkle. We're going to go with a large prison, just because it's more fun that way and gives us more room to play. Fog of War is going to be really cool. It's a nice feature so that you can only see what your guards can. So areas that don't have anybody watching, you can't see what the prisoners are doing. We're going to get rid of the forest because they're annoying. We will have the failure conditions, so if too many people die, you run out of money, you'll lose. We're going to throw events in because they can be kind of fun. They add some extra challenge. And we will go with the weather and temperature, because it adds another whole level of fun, just like events, so you actually have to deal with things being cold, with hot, rain, all that fun stuff. So, they throw you out into this little place like this. Nothing here except for the road. This is where all your supplies are going to be coming in, all of your deliveries, your prisoners are going to come in. Right now it's got it so that in 23 hours, we're going to get 8 prisoners. My suggestion is at the start, go into this little reports down here in the corner. I would definitely go in, click on the intake tab, and just close it for now. Because this gives you time to get things set up before prisoners show up and they have nowhere to go, and then you start getting bad ratings and it's horrible. Now, one of the first things you always want to do is have grants active. So over here you can see you have a to-do list. Right now, prisoner intake is nothing. There's the CEO's letter. I would go in there, read that. It's helpful. Pause the video if you would like to, but it's not really necessary. They don't tell you anything that amazing, other than some individual cells are expensive, so it might be helpful to just, make a holding cell at the start. Kitchen, canteen are really important. Cooks, all that fun stuff. Don't worry about it. Delete it. Gone. I'm going to help you through the beginning here. So, to fill this up with to-dos, go to your grants. So you can see here we have just a couple grants that we can start out with. And they give you some money to start with. So like this basic detention center, you get 20 grand right up in front. And once you complete all the objectives, you get an extra 10 grand. You can only get, for now, 2 of these. One of the first ones I always go with is the administration center. Just because we're going to need those offices, we're going to need a warden, all that fun stuff. Another really easy one to start out with is just getting the staff well-being initiative. It'll make your life easy because you can get rid of one of the needs right away. So, here we have our garbage and all that, and this is our deliveries. You can move these, so they don't have to sit right there. Like, maybe I would like all of my prison stuff to start up here. So what I'm going to do is click on this little tab here. It's called Rooms. You can see here we don't have all of them capable yet because we haven't unlocked certain things. To do that, we're going to need the help of our warden. So what I am going to do right away is we're going to want to build an office. So to get an office, you need a room that's 4x4. That does not mean the walls are 4x4. The space contained within the walls is 4x4. That was one of the first things that I had a lot of problems figuring out. So what you'll want to do is click on Foundation. And it doesn't matter if you pick either concrete or brick. Neither makes any difference whatsoever. So as you can see, you know, this says 4x4, but in reality it's only 2x2 because of the outer edge of the walls. So you gotta pull those out to a 6x6. Now they're always gonna say they require an entrance, so quickly go into Objects. You can see you have a couple choices of doors. For this one, I'm just gonna pick a door, because we don't need anything crazy for it. Doesn't need any blocking out any particular people. Like jail doors, you can close and lock them and nobody can get in or through. You can have solitary doors, staff doors, only staff are allowed to go through, so guards actually have keys. Now you'll see our little guys here, our little workers, are now bringing supplies up. And once they bring those up, they will start building this building. Now what I'm going to do is magic with time travel. So we're going to make them go a little bit faster, because this is actually a pretty slow-paced game until things really get going. Now as you can see with this administration center, the first thing we need is 2 offices, hire a warden, unlock financial through bureaucracy. So right now we've got a room. This is great. Now we can call this an office, but we are failing 3 of the objectives it needs. You need an office desk, a chair, and a filing cabinet. So what you're going to want to do, when you zoom over certain rooms, you can see some of these get highlighted. Like the office desk, the filing cabinet, and the chair. It says staff door. I'm not too worried about it because I'm going to keep this separate from my prisoners. So we're going to throw an office desk right there. We'll give them a filing cabinet on that side. And we'll throw a chair behind the desk. Boom. Now once they bring those objects over, we'll have an office. Now that first office is going to be for our warden. He's very important to have. He costs a whole bunch of money, but get him right away. Because having him, once he's able to actually go into his office, we'll be able to open up bureaucracy and actually get him working. Well, we can open it now. One of our objectives is we need to get finances going so that we can get this lovely little lady. So what you're going to want to do is spend that $500. As you can see, required office, it's going to take him 6 hours to study finances, I suppose. Once his office is available, he'll start researching that. So we'll speed up some time so these little guys can bring these pieces into this office. And there we go. Now you can see it switched over to the warden's office. They gave me these cute little photographs. They're just little collectibles. Now we're also going to want another office set up here for the next lady, or the accountant, because it's the next thing that we'll need once bureaucracy is along. As you can see, it's got this nice little 3% building for us, which is handy. Again, rooms need doors, so make sure to put one in. And we're just going to copy the exact same little setup I had in the other room. Doesn't make a difference what they look like. But then go ahead and you can call this an office. So once they get those objects put in, we will have an office. So that'll fix our build 2 offices. Now you can also see here that we have a flashing lightning bolt. That means there's no power. Big surprise! it always means the same thing. So what you're going to want to do is go into Utilities. Now in Utilities, you have Power and you have Water. Power Station is needed to be able to make power. Ooh, shocker. So I'm going to put one of those down right there. They're going to build it. Now what we're also going to have to do is build ourselves an electrical line. Because wires can only go so far. They'll do it automatically, but only if they can reach to that power supply. So in this case, the cords are going to come out through this door. They don't go through walls. So we will have to wait for them to build this electrical line, and then they connect these lights and actually turn the lights on. Now, something that I always suggest doing is building a room around your electrical supply and your water supply when you do build that. If you don't, prisoners could have access to it and can cause some pretty bad problems. As you can see here, this office is so far unclaimed. I'm just waiting for this guy to finish research. So now we've got power. You can see this one's already connected because there's enough of a line. They will eventually start building for us. Again, we need another door. We're going to throw a staff door on this one, just to ensure that no bad guys get in there. There we go. So, now we've got the setup of a very basic little office. Cool. Now, something else that we're going to need is to have a staff room. It's a good idea to keep a staff room near these guys, because, like, the warden especially, he's going to be doing lots of studying all the time. So, to build a staff room, again, it has to be a 4x4. So we're going to go ahead and build that right across from his office. Again, we're going 6x6 for the foundation because you have to include the walls and all that silliness. And we're going to throw a staff door. It's going to be right across the way from him. Because as your workers work, they get tired. So over time, the warden's going to get tired and he's going to need a place to relax. They can do that anywhere, but it goes much faster if you have a staff room. Now, staff room needs to have a wide sofa and a drinking machine. So, go to the objects, and as long as you're over that room, it'll pop up all your stuff that you can put in there. We're going to throw that in there for now, and the drink machine. Excuse me. So, that'll mean that this staff room will now be finished once those two objects come in. And then all we have to do is have 5 guards on duty that don't have assignments. So what we can do right away is go ahead and put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guards. Now we completed that. We just got 10 grand. Awesome. We're on our way to being filthy rich. So, now as we just wait for this one, we can go ahead and take a new one. So one of the next ones that you might want to start going into is this basic detention center. This is going to allow you to start getting some prisoners. So you can usually put this away from these guys because it's kind of important. They are protected on their own. But I usually put that detention center somewhere where, you know, you want to start your prison. Now, we just finished the finances of the bureaucracy, so we can actually go into our staff now and hire us an accountant. Perfect. She's now in her office, and as you can see up here in bureaucracy, the warden's now gotten her done. She can now go in and do these. If we want, we can have her work on getting us an extra grant. It's a handy thing. I would suggest getting something else that you're going to want to start working on is getting the psychology and the health. It's really important to get these two right away because one of the next grants that we'll be able to get now is inmate health. It's really important for you to have this, as you're going to need a medical ward. Stuff's going to go wrong, people are going to get into fights. It's no fun. So definitely start that one up. It'll be really good to have. So, we're now past this first little bit here. Perfect. We got a couple guards ready. We've got our 2 workers going. Wonderful. So what we will do is very quickly, we're going to build ourselves that holding cell. Now holding cells have to be 5x5. So we're going to switch over to concrete now. I'm going to move this in a ways, because we don't want them right next to the edge. It's a pretty bad idea. But you know what? For now, it'll be okay. So, again, that says 5x5. Double it, because we're adding space to those walls. In this case, we're going to want to now switch over to a jail door, because we're going to lock prisoners in here. Eventually. They do take a little while in this game. It's quite surprising. There we go. We now have a room. We can now call this a holding cell. What's going to have those needs? You need to have a toilet and a bench. So it'll be super important to have. So, again, in objects, we can see as we get close. There we go. We got a bench. We'll throw that there. We're going to need a toilet right there. Not going to be the end of the world if we put it anywhere, really. But you can see power's not getting here, and we don't have water for that toilet once it gets in. So what we'll have to do is go into the utilities. We're going to have to pull some electric down so that they can go ahead and connect now. This line's going to be pretty temporary, because this room, to me, is also going to be pretty temporary. We're also going to need to get that water pump station, and I'm going to put it across from the electrical, because it's the same size, and I tend to be a little bit anal about some of the sizes of all this stuff and where things go. So what we will have to do is you're going to have to directly connect electricity to this thing. Nothing you can do about that. We'll always have to connect a line. Then what you can now do is you can run water. I'm going to run water right to here. You can switch over to small pipes. Small pipes don't go as far. I think it's like 15 spaces. But the large pipes, they can run forever. You can actually run your entire prison off of one water pump, as long as you keep running these big pipes. Now, electricity, though, is a different story. You can see here, this little bar, when that fills up and hits the top, it'll short out. And it'll fry it, shut off the electricity. It's a pain in the butt. So what you'll quite often have to do is go in and add these capacitors. They'll increase a chunk of power, which will help out. But for now, we're going to really just keep this one for the small area, and we're probably not going to need more than just those 2. So there we go. We've got this. But it also says we have another requirement. We need to have accessibility to a canteen. Now, something else that we'll also need is a shower. So again, we're going to need some more foundation. I'm going to throw this right here. We're going to make it a couple wide. And what we're going to do is I like to connect this directly into the holding cell. For now. So that any prisoners we put in there can go directly into the showers without needing to come out into the whole world. Now again, you have to name this as a room. That'll always be super important, so never forget to do that. Somewhere is a shower. There it is. Throw that in there. Now I've got a shower. To make it a room, you have to start adding some objects. In this case, shower heads. You can mount them in the middle, floating around in nowhere. I tend to like to put them against a wall because it makes more sense. We'll throw 5 in there. Now, something you'll want to do is add these drains. Now, I've seen some people just put them by the doors, but I always put them right under the shower heads. This way, as the water falls down, it'll go right through there and won't flood out into the rest. That can cause some pretty bad problems. Prisoners can get injured, flood places. If it hits your electrical system, it'll fry it. Now you can see here, we need water. Now because we added in that heat, the weather issue, we're going to want to get them hot water. It's always really important. And something else we're going to want is a radiator to put into this holding cell. So we're going to throw one right there. Then we're going to go into the utilities. Now the water boiler needs to have a connection to water and to the electricity. So I'm going to throw it right here, because that'll connect right up in. And then you'll have to run hot water pumps. Now in this case, I'm just going to connect it right here, go straight down, and then right here was where our radiator is. So we have to make sure that we run the hot water there as well. Pipes can crisscross, it's not a big deal. So you can have the hot water pipes running under those, you can have electricity running under those, but you need to have water and electricity running to that for it to run. Alright, so you can see, especially with this one, you can see the red water bubble. That means you have to have hot water for that. Showerhead's going to have cold water, but sometimes the prisoners don't like it, they complain, especially if it's cold outside. So there we go. We have a very basic holding cell for now. But right now, that'll be it for our little tutorial. We'll come back later with the next step. We're going to continue building on these things, the yard, the kitchen, the canteen. Then we'll get ourselves a few prisoners and keep moving on the way. We'll catch you in the next video. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And remember, stay in trouble.